Guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do, as you can tell by the title, a freshman advice video and kind of like my regrets from undergrad, so that hopefully you know someone doesn't have the same regrets that I currently have right now. So I'm gonna start with my regrets and then just move on to some general helpful tips that I figured out while I was in college. So as for my regrets, I graduated college last year, summer of last year, and some of these regrets I realized in college, but like now a year later, they're kind of like a lot more prominent to me. So most of my regrets have to do with my social experience. I didn't have the best social experience while I was at college. So my first tip, well, my first regret / tip is you need to live on campus your first year. I did not live on campus my first year. I didn't even live in actual student housing. I lived in a townhome like 20 minutes away from campus with a bunch of other students, but they were like juniors, seniors. One was a junior and the other one was already in grad program. So I really regret that because I didn't get I didn't get to live on campus and be with a bunch of other freshmen, a bunch of other people who are new and are looking for friends and are looking to do fun things. I didn't get any of that experience. I didn't really get to meet people my age. I didn't get to meet other freshmen truly, because you're not going to meet people in classes. I feel like this video is going to be all over the place, but you're really not going to meet people in classes truly. Not all of your class, depending on how you start, your first year is going to be Gen Ed classes, and lots of the Gen Ed classes, like almost all of them, are lecture halls. They're huge lecture halls. Every seat is packed, and realistically, you're not going to talk to people in that kind of setting. So living on campus is such a big thing. From what I noticed from my experience to everyone else that I graduated high school with who did live on campus, we had totally, like completely different college experiences. And that was one of my biggest regrets, is that I was so eager to be an adult, and also I didn't want to dorm because I didn't want to share space with somebody like that. But you could easily choose student housing if that's available for you, that's off campus but still other students. So that's one of my biggest regrets. My next tip is join something. Join a club, join a sorority, a fraternity. Join something, okay? If you don't live on campus, or you don't like your roommates, if you do live on campus, you don't like them, join a club. So crucial. Well, I wouldn't say a club per se. Well, okay, I'm getting off topic. But join a club. Join something. Honestly, I didn't get to personally because I was working a lot and everything was outside of my schedule to join, so I never got to join anything, and I couldn't afford to join a sorority. But if you can, please join something and start looking to what kind of clubs you want to get into before school even starts. Because another thing is, like, if you're like me, I'm really shy, and to me, when I saw a club that I wanted to go to, and I did finally see a club or whatever, and I was like, oh my goodness, you know, my work schedule aligns, I can go to a meeting. It was like their 6th meeting, you know, and everyone's already kind of clicked up, and that makes it so much harder. So if you're an incoming freshman and you're looking to join a club, figure out what club you want to join right now so you can go to that first meeting before everyone started clicking up, and it makes it that much harder just to become, you know, make friends. I think I went to like a Caribbean club meeting because I was like, oh, you know, that's something I can, you know, go to. That's something I kind of have an interest in. And yeah, it was like the 3rd meeting. Everyone had their own friend groups already. They probably already came in with their own friend groups. So it was like the most awkward experience of my entire life. And after that, I just didn't even want to try. It was so awkward. Like, I was sitting by myself, and even when we did group work, like, I would talk, but no one would talk to me. Like, group work. Anyway, figure out what clubs you want to join kind of early. You know, your school should have a web page full of courses you can look the clubs, you can look at them and figure out what you want to do. And of course there's a sorority. I heard that that's such an amazing experience, and I wish it was something that I could have experienced, but like I said, I couldn't afford it. So, you know, hopefully if you're watching this, you're not going into freshman year right now, because sororities are kind of expensive, so you need time to stack them cookies up. All right. And finally, like the last tip for the social experience part is, if you don't live on a dorm, you don't like your roommates, you don't want to join a club because you have no one to take with you to the club, so you don't end up awkward like me sitting in the back by myself. Anyway, my last tip is, if you are planning to work or if you want to work, get a job that is close to the school. Just because you're more likely to meet other people who are attending the same school as you, then, you know, whatever. The job opportunities might not be that great, but that's like the last ditch effort into making friends. This is the way that I made my only 3 friends from my college experience, so that is like the last ditch effort if everything else is not falling into line. So moving on to some more general tips. Don't pick morning classes. I know that a lot of people say this, but I shouldn't say don't pick morning classes. This kind of goes into my next tip, I guess, you know, whatever. But design a schedule that truly works best for you. If you're not a morning class person, do not pick 8 a.m. classes. Do not pick 9 a.m. classes, because you will be miserable, okay? You will be. It's going to be hard. It's already hard enough going to college and having to be responsible for yourself and not having your mom tell you what to do. It's already hard enough to get you to go to classes that you don't like. But once you start putting them early in the day, you're not going anywhere. So really pick a schedule that works for you. And also another thing is, I hate morning classes. I hated waking up early, but what I hated more was going to class in the middle of the day, because parking was a fucking nightmare, y'all. I went to UCF, and I remember on orientation day they told us that there are 18,000 parking spots on the entire campus for students. There are 64,000 students. And at first sitting there, I was like, no, okay, you gotta count the people who ride bikes and walk and da-da-da-da-da. It's probably not that bad. It's terrible, okay? I don't know about other school situations, but bruh, it's terrible. Parking was terrible, and everyone wants to go to class at noon anyway. So if you're like me and you want to avoid that, take the morning classes or take the night classes. That also gives you a more flexible schedule if you are working, because if your class is in the middle of the day, you can't really work around that. But if you get them out of the day in the morning, or out of the way at night, you know, easier to work with. So I also said pick a schedule that fits for you, and that relates to not only like your class schedule, but your study schedule. I'm going to talk more about this in a different video about time management tips. I'm not sure if that'll be up already or if it's coming after this one, but I'm going to talk more about that. But you really have to figure out a study schedule that works for you, that's optimal for you, because that's such a big key to success, is figuring out how to be productive. And like I said, I'm going to do a whole video on productivity. Okay, so another tip is speak to your advisors. Your advisors are there for you to connect with and to talk, well, not connect with, but to talk to. They are there to help you, okay? I spoke to my advisors every single semester. I would look at my degree audit, figure out what I needed next, design a course schedule that I thought worked for me for the upcoming semester, and then I went and spoke to one of my advisors and figured out if it was right to me, you know, figured out if there's teachers I should take, should avoid, stuff like that. Because it's honestly, going on to your degree audit, filling out a course schedule, it's not that hard to do, but your advisors tell you stuff like, you really shouldn't take those 2 classes together because they are so hard on their own. You should take this and some other easier classes instead. Or hey, if you already like, I remember an advisor told me, you know, this class isn't really that important to your major, take it with this teacher because she's so much more lenient and da-da-da. Like, your advisors, my advisors were amazing, but also figure out how your advisors work. Because for instance, like I said, I went to UCF. My boyfriend also goes to UCF. I could walk into my advisors and see them at any time, ask them a whole bunch of questions about scheduling and all of that stuff. And I was a psych major. My boyfriend is a communications major, and he cannot do that. Like, he has to schedule appointments, and they don't help him with scheduling, which I'm like, kind of like, so what are you there for? So I guess before I should say, go speak to your advisors, go speak to your advisors. Figure out if your advisors are available to you like that. But I just found that was so crazy, you know? Going to the same school, why wouldn't the advisors for the different degrees or whatever do the same thing? But, okay, participate in class. This is so important. Oh my God. I knew this was important before I went into college, but I really didn't give it any mind, and it was something I regretted as I was getting close to graduate. Participate in classes, talk to your teachers. It's hard. I know we're all very shy people, some of us more than the others, but it's so, so, so important to participate in classes and for your teachers to start to recognize you, because if you're moving on to grad school or anything that might require some kind of letter of recommendation, your teacher has hundreds of students, hundreds, and they don't remember all of you. They hardly remember you at all, okay? And when it came time for me to get recommendation letters, I realized I'd never talked to any of my teachers. I think I emailed a couple of them here and there, but I never talked to any of my teachers, and I had to come up with 3 recommendation letters, and I couldn't name 3 teachers that I was sure even knew my name, okay? So talk to your, if you, like, be that person that's sitting in the front row and talking and answering questions, and, you know, ask your teacher questions after class if you can, because that's a better way for them to recognize you as opposed to emailing them. You know, hey, if you have a question, if you're reading the text or something and you have a question, ask them after class, because then they'll start to associate your name and your face. Go to office hours if you ever have questions. It's definitely a way to stand out to your teacher. Luckily, I think when I needed recommendation letters, it was a struggle to get. I had to ask teachers that I knew nothing about me. Also, some teachers have like a system where you had to have taken like I had a teacher that said to get a recommendation letter for her, you had to have taken 2 of her classes and gotten A's in them, and that's all she needed from you. But I got a B in one of her classes, so that was that for me. Anyway, it's super important. Luckily for me, I honestly really struggled when it came time to find recommendation letters, and I ended up going to a whole different school that didn't need them. This now, starting out working now, and don't be scrambling in your last semester like I was, because it's really hard. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Talk to me down below in the comments, and until next time, spread love, be kind. Bye.